Welcome to Two Pete's in a Podcast, where we will talk about child health from birth right away through to adolescence, dealing with issues of illness, development, and everything else that is of importance.
Hello everyone, we're talking about coughing. I'm Michael Platten and I have Simon Strawn with me. Hello
Hi,
again.
Everyone.
Hello.
Good to be here.
Right, warning signs. When should you be concerned about coughing? Coughing plus. Does your child cough with rapid breathing, with flaring or difficulty breathing? Do they have coughing with extra sounds? Do they have recurrent coughing?
Coughing where they're breathing quickly with it, or they're clearly having what we refer to as retractions, where they're sucking in on their rib margin. Because they're coughing along with that, not even while they're coughing, but are they also feeding badly? Do they have persistent fever? Are they looking just a little off color and a little unwell? Do they look a little bit breathless, like they're battling to catch their breath? So I think that's it. I think those are the cough plus things. So there's quite a list there, but it is just that notion of there's coughing. So do something about the coughing. So clear the nose, alleviate the coughing as we've spoken about in the previous podcast, and then look at what else is there. If it's in the lungs, you're going to have the cough plus fever and rapid breathing. You're not really going to have rapid breathing, Mike, if it's not in the lungs. I mean, if it's in the nose, generally you're going to spray the nose clear and then whatever else is going to disappear.
Well, they might be breathing a bit fast because they can't breathe through the nose properly. So that's why I say clean the nose.
Yes.
And if they are still breathing quickly with a nice, clean, open nose that's not congested, then we're concerned that there's something else going on in the lungs.
That's right. And you also just triggered my memory that, if your child's got a fever, they could be breathing quickly because the fever's there too.
Yes.
So control the symptoms, get it down to cough. So clear the nose, treat the fever. Now you've got the coughing, what's left? So then if there are signs of that difficulty breathing, which is that flaring of the nose, the rapid breathing, the sucking in, retractions along the rib margin, not feeding well, colors a bit off, miserable and moany, and the coughing, that's when you need to look at it and go, hang on a second. And especially, if it's just on day one, you might go, oh, okay, we're starting a bit of a virus. But certainly by the second or third day, I certainly would be reacting at that point and saying, let me rather get this checked out.
Yeah. And when you come and see us, we are going to be looking in the ears because ears can cause a persistent cough. Inflammation of the throat itself can cause a cough. We're looking for signs of infection or noise inside the chest to say whether it's gone to the chest or not. I think it's important just to reiterate what we said I think it was in our first Runny Noses podcast, is that we cannot stop an infection going to the chest. If it's going to go there, it's going to go there. What we do is we treat it when it's there. Or at least we treat the symptoms around there, and if there's a pneumonia, we treat the pneumonia.
So, Mike, how would you advise a mom about the coughing has started and they've got some nasal sprays to dry the nose and they've got something to try and thin the mucus out and they're put a humidifier on at night. Child doesn't really have a fever. How long would you say to the mom, come and see me when? Come and see me if, what would you say?
If there is progression or he's getting worse, or your child is getting worse.
What does that mean? Worse in what way?
So more persistent coughing. If this is the second or third or fourth episode of coughing in a very short period of time. So recurrent coughing. When they're not responding to normal treatment, like for an infection, we expect them, like for a viral infection, we expect them to have a runny nose and then start coughing. The coughing peaks by about day 3, day 4, day 5, and then gets better. If it carries on getting worse after day 5, if it persists after day 5 without changing, or if there's other symptoms around that.
Like suddenly if they develop a fever when they didn't have a fever before and that fever doesn't easily break. If they're suddenly looking like their breathing is a little more
heavier.
Rapid, or suddenly they're wheezing, or suddenly they're crying in pain, which they weren't crying before. They suddenly start vomiting out all their food, whereas before they were eating well. So it is that progression. I think that's what we spoke about previously, is that it's important to try and identify what's causing the coughing, because then you know what to expect as the natural course. And your child may well be following that natural course, and we'll be able to tell you that, but only if we've had a conversation or seen you. And that's how parents learn for the next time. That's why second children are always easier than the first. Because
second child syndrome.
Because you have a clue.
Yes.
Your first child taught you these things. So don't ever feel like you're coming for no reason. Even if we say to you, this is a rhinovirus, because that's how you learn, and that's how
you get more confident looking after your child.
Exactly. And you also then are able to treat, because you have an expectation, you're not going to be running from pillar to post and buying this medication and that medication and this device and that device because you've seen it before. So
how many times have you seen moms come in with a shopping bag of medication?
Yeah.
And it takes time to go through. This is not working. This is not going to work. This is useful. This is not. And that's what we're there to do. We're there to try and distill what we are treating and tell you what to expect going forwards.
And we both operate in a way where we all have the things that we like to use, either because by scientific knowledge we know that it works, or sometimes because over the years of experience we've realized that that's what works. But we're not going to be giving a shopping bag of medication. We're going to be giving a very limited amount of medication. We're going to be saying we're giving this medication for this reason. This is what we expect it to do. If this doesn't happen, and if you end up with, we're going to go back to what we're saying, cough plus, come back again and see us.
Or at least contact us so we can talk you through it. We're not going to send you out into the big bad world completely alone. What we do as pediatricians is we follow up, because children change, and when they change, they can change quickly. We know that. And
we depend on the parents to be part of this team. So we do rely on the fact that we can only make an assessment on your child from the information that we glean from the history. In other words, what we get by talking to you, and what we find on our examination. And we can make a determination based on that on the day that we see the child.
And that's literally 15, maybe 20 minutes of seeing the child.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to figure out what's going on going ahead.
Everything starts somewhere. If you nail the diagnosis on the first attempt, and we have a very good idea of what it is, we can tell you that it's going to take this long. But we have all seen children who suddenly go boop, the other direction,
deviate,
and suddenly there's a cough plus a fever, cough plus a blah, blah, blah. Come back and see us again.
Absolutely. I think that's it.
So I think that's it. I think we've finished with the coughing as a symptom, the overview, the why, the treatment, and the warning signs. So thank you for joining us, and if your children have allowed you to,
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you found this of value, please be sure to sign up to our email list at www.careforkids.co.za, and that's the numeral 4, and subscribe in your favorite podcast app, or follow us on Facebook.
At 2 Pete in a Podcast.
At 2 Pete in a Podcast.
TWO, not the numerical 2.
This is our disclaimer. The information we have given you in this podcast is our own personal professional opinion. We're giving it to you for your own information. Please don't use it to treat yourself or to treat anybody else. Rather, go and see your own medical healthcare provider and follow their advice.